Тез, се слышимо? Тест, тест, тест.
Začnemo. Okay, dobro. Welcome everybody. So today we gather here to hear something more about our doctoral study. So every year in the beginning of April we organize this prospective student day for prospective students who are considering to enroll to doctoral study. So I'm Daniel Skuchaj, I'm coordinator of doctoral study at our faculty, study of computer information science. And in the following minutes, not hours, right, I'll try to explain basically what this doctoral study is about. You also have several students that will also tell their story, right, what they feel and think about our study. So maybe just to start with, right, probably all of you that who are sitting here, you are considering to enroll to doctoral study, right? So the question is why? So if I ask you, probably all of you will have different story, but the main point is that, at least from my point of view, if I look at the students that enroll to doctoral study, all of them, they have one same, how to say, like ingredient or motivation, let me put it this way. So this is like curiosity, some driving force that drives them to do a kind of research. So research is the main point of doctoral study. Is it called doctoral study? But it's really not a lot about study. It's about research, right? And if you are curious, if you want to do something new, if you want to contribute something to the body of science in the world, this is the way to go, right? To enroll to doctoral study, because the main point of doctoral study is to develop something new, to go beyond what currently exists in the world scale, right? But it's just one part of the story. What drives you, what is like that internal drive that every researcher has. But from the, let's say, benefits point of view, how to say, like one thing is that maybe you fulfill your dreams, you develop something, you earned a PhD and so on, right? But on the other hand, after you finish this study, you get this title that maybe not be really so important in all the jobs that you'll be looking for, right? But the title is there, and it is a certificate that you passed this, I wouldn't say easy study at our faculty, right? That you did all the exams, which is not so important, but it's that you produced some body of research that you're proud of. And it also certificates you basically that you're able to conduct research, that you know how the scientific work is done, that you know how to plan the experiments, to execute the performance, to evaluate, to assess the methods that you develop, so that you have the skills, right, that otherwise you wouldn't have, right? And there are a lot of jobs that really benefit of these skills. And the last thing that I really appreciate from young, people as you are, this is not an easy path, right? So you have to be ambitious, you have to be curious, you have to be a little bit different or than the average, right, people of your age in order to go to this direction, right? So me as an employer, I would definitely appreciate this additional drive in students. Yeah, I want to pursue a doctoral study. So all in all together, I think it's like a mixture of something that is really, when you feel this inner, how to say, drive to do something more, right? But also on the other hand, although in a lot of companies they'll say, okay, I don't care if you have a PhD or not. In a lot of companies, this actually counts, right? And maybe if not on some official, in official requirements, but in like these unofficial, not requirements, but when you assess the different candidates for a job, this, at least from my experience, in my view, right, and in view that I shared with a lot of other people, actually this counts, right? So it's, like this is the body of students that start the faculty, then this passes to the second year, right? This is maybe the students that finish the first, undergraduate degree. This is the body of students that finish the second, the master study, and this is, like the doctorates, the students that actually obtain a doctorate at the end, and it's a kind of cherry on top the cake, I would say. So this was just like introduction to or motivation maybe for the doctoral study, but maybe I should start with the students. Okay, I already started, but now the first slide, the first couple of slides is the story from the students. This is what I presented now is my view, maybe, right? As someone that actually is coordinating this program for quite some years, so that a lot of researchers actually went from the first year to the defense at the end. So maybe I can reflect what happened in the recent years. But let's listen to the students. What do they have to say about the doctoral study? So the question was, what doctoral students like the most?
Na doktorskem študiju mi je bilo všeč to, da smo se veliko naučili, se pravi nekih tehničnih veščin, poleg tega pa še nekih takih praktičnih veščin, ki v bistvu povsod pridejo prav, kot je na primer predstavljanje kompleksnih idej v čim bolj preprosti obliki, tako da nas drugi razumejo. Potem se naučimo predstavljati znanstvene vsebine, se pravi v obliki posterjev, v obliki konferenčnih prispevkov, pišemo članke in tako naprej. Predvsem se pa veliko bere, se pravi veliko člankov prebereš in tako naprej.
Na doktorskem študiju mi je najbolj všeč raziskovalni del doktorskega študija, in sicer, da se moje znanje vedno znova nadgrajuje.
The main point of doctoral study is really research, but let's listen to the third one as well.
Doktorski študij omogoča tudi študij ob delu. Fakulteta je tukaj prišla nasproti z prilagojenim programom in dodatnimi ugodnostmi za nas, ki smo redno zaposleni.
Yeah, okay, so just maybe what he just said, right, that he's employed basically, and he can manage to do like this research, because we all have all lectures and everything connected to doctoral study is given in the afternoons after 4 o'clock, especially because, all of the students are basically employed, many of them here at faculty as teaching assistant or researchers, some of them also at some other companies, so we must make sure that everyone can attend the lectures, not only lectures, also presentations of the results, of all the requirements that the students have to fulfill can be done in the afternoon. So I'm talking in English now, right? So the entire program is given, I say mostly in English, right? So because we have a lot of students from abroad as well, so we need to communicate with all of them. But of course, all the parts of the study that are given individually or with Slovenian students only are also taught in Slovene, right? So we combine both two approaches so that we allow also to the foreign students to fully follow everything that we want to say at this study. But yeah, just to summarize, we're very flexible also because there is not a lot of students. There is around between 10 and 20 students per year in this doctoral level. So it's really, I say it's like a boutique kind of study, and you can really have relationships with any direct relationship with every student. So you can really adapt to his or her needs with respect to the I don't know, deadlines, or if someone goes abroad to research visit, we can organize online lectures and so on. So we try as much as we can that we somehow approach to every student to make this study as simple as possible. But yeah, as it was mentioned before, the main core of the doctoral study is research. And here at our faculty, we have quite how to say, I can say good research, right? Excellent research in different areas of computer science, right? We have 20 laboratories. Our laboratory is basically focused on one particular research topic. You have 60 mentors that you have selected among us. So this is maybe, if I speak in relation to research, right? So the supervisors, the mentors are supposed to guide you through the research, right? So to help you with shaping ideas and also helping with the study as such. But the main point is really to be some mentor with respect to that knows maybe a little bit more about that wider area of research, that somehow directs you where to go, maybe warns you if you take a detour or something like that, right? So it's very important that you select a mentor that works in that particular topic of interest that you want to pursue your PhD on. And if you click at this, link, you'll get a list of mentors that are eligible to guide you through this study. Now, speaking about these laboratories, I said that we cover all the different areas of computer science, from, I don't know, integrated systems, cybersecurity, biometry, language technologies, blockchain, cloud computing, data mining, machine learning, AI as such, computer vision, supercomputing. So it's really, you can find a lab if you're not from here, or if you study here, then you know us who actually are teachers here. So you know who is working on which topic, right? But you can find any topic that you want basically to pursue, to conduct research on that particular topic during your PhD. So if you're from here, you know the facilities, right? But if you are from somewhere else, or for all our guests that follow us online, I always say that we have probably the most beautiful computer science building in the world, or maybe this is a little bit of exaggeration, but it's really very nice, right? We have a lot of space, open space, classrooms. So I always say that the building is new, but it's not so new anymore. So last year we have the 10th anniversary, but this is still very, very new in comparison with most of the other faculties. So we can really not complain about facilities. We have like computer classrooms, as I said before, 20 research laboratories where you can collaborate with research staff. With like the professors, researchers, and so on. And this is really important, which is the environment that you come in. So as a PhD researcher, you will not work on your own, of course. On your doctoral dissertation, this will be your topic, your work. You'll have to actually complete the goals that you'll set. But you'll collaborate with the supervisor and also with the rest of the researchers in the lab that he's usually associated with, right? So, and you have plenty of possibilities to do this, right? Now, access to supercomputing technologies, really at the faculty we're making really a lot of effort to offer you the best possible computing facilities, right? So a lot of labs, we are also quite well equipped with computational power. We have a very strong computer also at the faculty level. Now we will buy a new container. So our computing rooms became too small, right? So we cannot fit all the GPUs inside. So we'll buy a new container, a huge investment that we'll make this year and put on the roof of this faculty in order to even increase the GPU capabilities, computing capabilities. So really want you to have comparable computing power as a student at any other almost any other university in the world, let's put it this way. Of course, and Google, Microsoft, and Baidu, they have more than we do, but I don't feel, I personally, we don't feel like the need to, like a kind of shortcomings with respect to other faculties of other universities when talking about computational power. Plus, we have access to Vega, other supercomputers here in Slovenia and abroad. As you know, we succeeded to get this project for a new supercomputer in Slovenia, and again, investment of 150 million euros that will happen in the following years. You shouldn't be afraid of not getting enough computing power during your PhD. And this is important, right? Because nowadays, without data, without computing power, you really can't do research as we could, let's say, 20 years ago. So computing infrastructure, check. The main question is, right, but this is something that only you can answer, right? What do you like to work on? So I can present you here all like the bureaucratic issues, all the possibilities that we offer to you. I can answer questions about, and also the other present here, we can help you answer questions about the procedures, right? But the major point of the dissertation is the topic itself, right? So I always say, like, doctoral study is not study like first and the second cycle, right? It's research, and you spend 4 years studying a particular thing. And if you really love to do that, if that topic is, I always say, if you're eager to see the results, right? That's something, this drive that drives you, right? It really must be something of interest. So if you do something just because you want to have a PhD and you're not interested in that topic, 4 years, it won't work, or it will, but it's not something that you'd like to do, right? So it's really very important that you find a topic that you like. Here we asked like this 3 students about their topics. Maybe we can listen to them to see what their topics are, to get a little bit of overview of what can be done here.
Ukvarjam se predvsem z razpoznavanjem obrazov in z vidiki zasebnosti, ki pridejo v poštev na področju tega dela raziskovanja. Drugače pa sem želel aspekte GDPR-ja vključiti v samo analizo obrazov, se pravi, gre za zaščito podatkov pri analizi obrazov.
Okay, so this is Peter Roth. He defended his thesis a couple of months ago, right? So he's really a fresh doctorate, and yeah, he works in the field of biometry. Let's listen.
Ukvarjam se z vizualizacijo negotovosti in sicer razvijam novo metodo, kjer vse, kar je zahtevano od uporabnika, je to, da v bistvu nariše svojo targetno spremenljivko in potem moja metoda ustvari vizualizacijo negotovosti na tej spremenljivki.
totally different topic about visualization, right? In machine learning and data mining, right? Bernarda started last year, so she's not there yet at the end, but you know, in a couple of years probably we can invite her as well with this DR in front of her. But okay, maybe these were videos, right? But we have like 2 guests here to discuss with them in live. So we have another fresh doctorate here, right? Mansa defended her dissertation, like a month ago or something like that. So I think it was
In February.
February, okay, slightly more than a month, right? Probably the last one at our faculty, or was someone else after you? Probably not, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I think
but if you go back, right, when you were in their skin, right, when you were thinking whether to go, you know, to apply or not, what was the main drive actually that convinced you to try or to apply?
So the main thing that convinced me was that I was working on my master thesis, and at the same time I was already working as a student in a company. There I was on the position of a web developer, and I had a feeling that if I will stay in company, I will get stuck there and do the same boring project for a few years. And at the same time there was a rapid development of this artificial intelligence in computer science. So I wanted to be a part of it because it's really interesting for me. The other thing is, when I was working on my master thesis, I could be creative and I could work on projects which I like. On the other hand, in the company, there is usually profit and not my interest, which directs the work and the project. So, and I think that here at faculty, there's a lot of opportunities to learn. So when I was doing my master thesis, there were, I think, weekly lectures called Piškot, where researchers from this faculty were presenting their new state-of-the-art knowledge, while when working at the company, there were very few opportunities to learn during like working hours. And yes, here I can follow my passion, while there people should follow profit. And I think I had a very good supervisor, which was then also later my PhD supervisor, who always gave me freedom to choose which project I want to work on, or if I would, let's say, think of new project, he would support me.
Okay, thank you. And because you said you were here already at master study and so on, so if you compare the undergraduate and master study with doctoral study, how would you compare that?
It's a completely different story. So first of all, when I enrolled to the PhD, I also employed here. So it was my job then, which is a great thing, because at that time you're around like, I don't know, 22. So you need some kind of salary. And it was completely feasible for me that during this PhD I had 2 children, because most of my research and study was done in my working hours. So second thing is that the subjects and lectures and everything is completely different. While some of the studies here may seem obsolete, like master study and undergraduate, because it's really hard to update those big subjects. Here, everything is, in my opinion, very up to date. All the subjects are updating constantly, so all the knowledge that you get is recent and, as I said, already up to date. And there are no like classical lectures where you will need to pass an exam about some topic, but all the subjects are formed in the manner that it's like additional supervision and to your research. So You have a lot of subjects with soft skills, which learn you how to do the research work, which is, in my opinion, very beneficial at the start of research career. And on the other hand, there are subjects which are just like setting your milestones to easier get the, to easier follow these deadlines and to not be too late with your research, because like you have in first year you have to do related work and you have a milestone, so you really do it and you're not too slow.
Okay, true. So I'll say something more about the curriculum, right? What kind of courses are there a little bit later on, but yeah, we are trying to shape them in, you know, in a way that you just explained. Okay, to conclude, maybe can you say something more about your work, right? So,
so this was my work for my PhD. So this is data from microscopy, volumetric data, and my goal was to segment structures out of this data. These are actually just 2 cells, because with recent technologies, you can get very magnified images of cells. So these are actually in green, you can see mitochondria, and in pink, you can see Golgi apparatus, so the structures that you were studying about in high school at the biology lectures. And I was working on this segmentation task in collaboration with the Institute for Biology of Cell, which was really satisfying for me, and I would recommend everyone to work on an interdisciplinary project, because I was not just like publishing papers about those methods, but those methods were really in use and the results were used by the biologists. I didn't need to wait that some biology experts will find my paper online and ask me if I could segment the data. So I really like that aspect of the study, that you can somehow do a good impact. So maybe I hope that this will sometime in some years turn into some good solution which will help, for example, treat bladder diseases, because this is the cell from bladder. It was, of course, challenging, and I was not the only one working on this problem. There are a lot of computer scientists which are addressing the segmentation of volumetric data. But in my opinion, if it wouldn't be challenging, it would be probably boring. And at the end, it's more satisfying if you finish a hard project than the easy one.
This is a very nice conclusion, right? You did it because it's hard, not because it's easy, right? And this is something we should aim for. Manza, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So she will be here also after this formal part. So if you have something to ask her without us older ones hearing that, you will be able to do it, right? So. But yeah, it was a really nice presentation. Also, this interdisciplinary aspect, right? A lot of dissertations at our faculty are in this interdisciplinary nature. Computer science is such a horizontal discipline that can be injected everywhere, and they can be very, very fruitful. Also, collaboration with other institutions. Also, I mentioned previously, like mentors. You also can have co-mentors. So if you have interdisciplinary dissertation, it's quite sometimes, you want to have also co-mentors from another discipline to help you to approach this problem from other direction, right? So it's everything is here possible, flexible, and so on. So Manza mentioned the study program, right? And this is how it goes. So it's officially we have 4 years of doctoral study, and this is just about right? So usually in 4 years, plus minus a couple of months, most of the students is able to complete that, right? If everything, if you have a lot of work and so on, then maybe it's delayed for a year or something like that. But 4 years are in general sufficient to do a quality PhD. In the past, there were only 3 years, and that was not enough, frankly speaking. And a couple of years ago, they extended to 4, and this is now really fair. So about the courses, we do have some courses. So officially, you need to have 60 credits every year. You know this system already from the bachelor's and master's study. But most of the work is research, right? Individual research work, doctoral dissertation preparation, right? So a smaller part of the doctorate are organized courses. And even most of these courses are designed somehow to guide you through this doctoral study. So let's say this seminar 1, seminar 2, seminar 3, and seminar 4 are, in seminar 1 and seminar 3, what you have to do is to read related work and to write a report about that, and then to present to your peers. So it's officially course, you get 5 credits for each of these seminars, but this is something that you would have to do anyway, right? At the beginning of any study, you really need to do very rigorous literary research and summarize the findings there, right? So, or for instance, seminar 2 and 4, you learn how to write a paper, right? So you write a paper about your work, publish it, present it in front of you. So we organize an internal conference, PICAXA, every year where the students present their work. And it's a very good opportunity so that your colleagues see you and hear what you're working on, ask questions, learn something new, and you'll learn how to present your own work. So again, it's a skill that any doctorate has to have, right? So it's a kind of, it's a course, but it's not really, they're not courses like on the first and the second Bologna cycle. This is what I really want to warn you. Then this scientific skills 1, it's composed of lectures how to, about ethics, where to find the papers, how to write in English, how to communicate, how to write prepare a poster, and something like soft skills that are very useful for presentation and like conducting research. And scientific skills 2, this is in the final year of the study. In this course, you write a project proposal, right? So idea is that you learn how to write a project proposal. Typically, this is really at the end of your study, you already did most of the work, so you can write your postdoc proposal, something like that. Because this is one skill that every researcher has to have, how to find the money after you defend your thesis, to find projects, to found the research. So only those 4 courses here are courses that are more similar to classical courses that you used to them from the bachelor and master study. But even in this case, we adapt to, I'll show on the following slide, to your needs, right? But what I want to emphasize here that most of the first and second year, the entire third year, and almost the entire fourth year are really dedicated to research work only, right? And this seminar 5 is basically a presentation of your research work. Once your doctoral dissertation is ready, you present that to the committee that actually evaluates this. And when you pass this course, then you're done, right? It's just, you just wrap up everything, and then you get the final comments about the dissertation and the final presentation. The defense, it's more or less celebration with your friends, right? So, so this is what I want to really emphasize. It's research work mostly, and we're really trying hard not to ask you to do anything else than what is needed to approach your final goal, right? Maybe just one thing to add here, it's not written here, but as a requirement for enrollment in the third year, you need, in the second year, you need to present like the draft of the dissertation, which means basically you need to write the topic that you will work on and set the goals. What contribution to science will you make, right? The contribution to science are the major thing that you'll do during your work, right? And this happens somewhere in the second year. But speaking about these four courses here, elective courses, 2 of them have to be selected among these courses that are written here. 2 of them can be selected also elsewhere at other faculties, universities. But also here, we try to offer as many different topics as possible. So really idea of these courses is that you So not that these courses are orthogonal to your research work, that you have to do something on top of that and you spend time of that and it hampers your research. You don't have time to do your research. It's that it helps you doing your research, right? Maybe to get some new ideas or something like that, right? So that's why we want to have as many courses as possible. Some of these courses are given like ex cathedra as usual courses with lectures and so on. Some of them, or even more, most of them, I would say, are given, as Manta said before, like as individual research courses. When you enroll to a course with one of the professor at the faculty, right? And then you work with him in mentoring manner, basically, on the really particular topic that is somehow connected to your research, right? So in this way, we really try to adapt as much as possible to the specific research lines of individual students. So that this shouldn't be considered as an overhead, but as really up to date. And also, yeah, we every year, exactly now, we have an open call for these courses. So we don't have the same courses every year. We have an open call, and then the professors, the teachers actually apply to this call with the latest topics, right? So it's really a PhD in computer science. I cannot imagine any other discipline in the world that can be more, that has to be more up to date than computer science, because every year basically the main methods, the main, maybe not every year, but in some areas really change, and you have to be really up to date in order to offer you the best that we can, right? So yeah, you'll select 4 courses out of them, maybe even some new one will be available when next year, when you will be actually choosing the curriculum from the list. Okay, I didn't ask you, so if you have any question, right, just raise your hand and ask. I'm willing to answer, or maybe we can do that at the end, right? So that we summarize everything and then we discuss, we have an open discussion about the remaining issue. These are a couple, like 6, 7 dissertations that were defended this year and last year, right? Just to see the scope of our study here, like continual learning. This is Mansa's dissertation. Then privacy preserving for face analytics. This was Peter's, yeah. Deep reinforcement learning for target-driven robot navigation, right? Interactive visualization, blockchain recommender system, lightweight deep models for sclera recognition, biometry again, right? So quite diverse topics, I would say, and as I said before, yeah, we cover basically everything. You can find all the dissertations at this link here, right? So if you want to feel how does, a dissertation at the University of Ljubljana, Faculty of Computer Information Science look like. Okay, I didn't bring one with me, so we have a nice, very nice layout, right? You publish a small book, right? It's not like a diploma with this large A4 black, diplomas. It's actually a book, right? You can, put on your shelf with a pride. So it's also from a format point of view is nice. Just, to get a glimpse of what you are working on here. Now, what to do after? So at the beginning, I mentioned a couple of things, right? Why you should apply. But of course, after you finish, or after you defend your thesis, then this period of research work for doctoral dissertation is over, and then you need to decide what to do. And typically, we have 2 options. One option is to stay in academia, and one to go to industry. And I don't know, I didn't count them this year, but we have approximately similar, half or something like that. People that stay in academia, and half of them go to some company. And now in academia, of course, you can be a teaching assistant professor, or researcher, research associate. All of them are basically our colleagues that defended their thesis in the last 3 years, right? So if you want to pursue some academic path, this is must, right? That you obtain your PhD, right? And if you go to the industry, of course, you typically would get some better position because you proved yourself in this study, right? Like, I don't know. So these are the titles of our ex-students that finished in the last couple of years, like data scientist, lead data analyst, data science team lead, and so on, the product steward lead. So typically they get some leading position there in the particular topic they did their PhD on. I mean, I always say that when you finish your dissertation, there shouldn't be any other person in the world that knows about that particular topic more than you, right? Maybe this is not, it's not a mild requirement, but it's true, right? So on that particular topic, you should be number one in the world, right? Of course, if you look a little bit broader topic, probably there are also some other researchers that might be in front of you, but anyway, you should be really on top of that particular area. And this is also, you know, if you go to a company after that, or if you do your PhD while working in a company, that particular contribution that you did can be very helpful for a company, maybe not, but in both cases, you prove yourself that you're like an excellent researcher. Yeah, this is a list of companies that employed our students that defended in the last couple of years. So it's, of course, it's very long. Here we put 8 most successful doctoral students, maybe more than them are very successful, right? So this is just a sub-list of them, like, you know, Marinka Žitnik, he's at Harvard now, Sanja Fiedler, she's vice president of AI research at NVIDIA, right? Juris Bontor, he was at Facebook, now he's at OpenAI, if he didn't change that already, right? So Tom Vodopilc, he is very active in this startup scene here in Slovenia. Martin Stražar is at MIT and Harvard and so on. So this is just 8 of them. Of course, I don't have to mention that everyone that finishes PhD here can find a job in 5 seconds or like 10 jobs, so that's not a problem at all. It's not a problem for you as well, right, after finishing master study, but you can really get not like any job, like really job at top institutions. And I won't say that they got these positions because they finished this study here, but definitely experience they got here helped them to reach, let me say, so high. Or yeah, we have a very many of very good examples. What can you achieve? I'm pretty sure that in a couple of years on this list, Vityan will be as well, right? If he decides to leave our lab, right, at some point. But yeah, I would welcome Vityan Zavrtenik to also say something about some thoughts, probably not as nicely as mine are, right? But be fair, right? So the first question, I repeat the same question. Yes. So when and why and how did you decide to join us?
So I worked at the same lab that I'm working at now, even while I was a master's student. So I did my master's thesis there. Then I took a short break. I went to Amazon for 6 months. I worked on computer vision problems there as well. I worked in their drone delivery program and did computer vision for that. Through the experience of working in the lab and while working for Amazon, I kind of figured that I really wanted to work on like interesting problems in this specific field. So I mean, maybe this is a bit different than experience of most people, but I got exposed to this to the research area that I'm working on now quite early. So for me, it was really a no-brainer because I wanted to work on interesting problems. I wanted to work on computer vision, and this really gave me like the possibility to do that for a few years in a very relaxed work environment with very good supervision. And so for me, it was really a no-brainer to enroll for a PhD here.
Okay, thanks. So again, the question, comparison between the undergraduate and master study and doctoral study.
Yeah, so it doesn't really have a lot to do with each other. So I feel like for undergrad, the goal is kind of to make you a good general engineer, right? You focus on breadth, you study all kinds of different subjects, you do homeworks, you really focus on practical problems. And during the PhD study, the focus is more really going deep into one specific topic. So the goal is to kind of make you a good researcher. So sure, you have courses, you have the obligatory courses, but they kind of focus on making you a good researcher. So they kind of help you along the way. They don't really interfere with your research process or your work at all, but really just focus on making you better. And the electives also contribute very nicely. So these are more focused on diving deep into one specific topic that might not be exactly the topic that you're working on as your main research topic. But still, they can be very useful. For example, I took one course, I remember a few years ago, for audio processing. And so I worked with a professor that was running this course. And in the end, we got a paper out of it. So basically, I transferred one method that I developed for some other modality and transferred it to the audio domain. And it turned out to work very well. So in the end, we got a paper and a nice collaboration out of it. So it doesn't really have to be like something that you have to do, but rather something that you get to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. And I'm glad to hear these very nice words. I swear that I didn't tell him what to say, right? These are his own words. Okay. Yeah, you mentioned this audio, but in general, what your research topic is?
Yeah, so I think there's another slide here. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah. So I work on visual anomaly detection mostly. So more specifically, I focus a lot on the detection of defects on objects. So these are images from like the latest project I worked on, and these images are all generated. So the idea was to take these large conditional image generation models and generate a bunch of different data, basically of objects that either contain some defects or that have no defects at all. And the idea was that, okay, we as humans, we can look at some object and say, okay, this object is clearly damaged. If we say, for example, we have a glass that's clearly broken, right? But generally, models can't really do that. And through generating this kind of data, we try to adapt large vision language models to kind of get the same intuitions as we humans have, so it can take a look at an object and just clearly say, okay, yeah, this object is broken, this object is fine, right? And this can be used in all kinds of like industrial visual inspection and so on. Mm-hmm. But this is only a part of what I do. What a PhD also gives you is a lot of freedom to collaborate with your lab mates or like even people that aren't in your lab. So throughout the PhD, I also worked on other topics such as object counting, climate data modeling, even some remote sensing lately. So it's really, you don't have to be extremely focused on one specific topic. You can go after other ideas that you might find interesting in the moment, as long as you have a nice supervisor that lets you do that.
Yeah, but these different topics can be also useful because you take the knowledge from one particular problem and use it, not directly, exactly, but somehow indirectly in some other problem. And then this could be very, very fruitful, right?
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Okay, but I know that you got like the best paper award in the pattern recognition journal. So this is one of the best computer vision journals, right? As the best paper for all the papers that were published in like a couple of years ago. So how do you feel about that? Or can you say that it is possible also to get such kind of awards while studying here?
Yeah, I mean, as long as the idea is okay and the execution is nice, I mean, you can make work that's pretty impactful anyway, right? Yeah. But again, it's really important to collaborate with the people in your lab to kind of make projects like that possible, right?
Okay, Vityan, thank you very much. Thanks. But I always say, really, we should aim high, right? And then, if you aim high, then you can achieve some heights, right? So, and this is the purpose of doctoral study, right? To really to aim high, to be ambitious, to go beyond what the others did. Okay, now one particular topic is double degrees. So you know that at second level we have in the first level, undergraduate, we have one double degree on second level as well, right? And on the third level, on the master or the doctoral study, we also can have this so-called co-tutel doctorates when you actually do your PhD in collaboration between two institutes, and then you obtain two doctorates, one from this institution, from another institution. So we have an agreement with KAUST from Saudi Arabia where you can work on the same topic. We spend half of the time here, half of the time in Saudi Arabia. You work on the dissertation on the topic which is mutually agreed between one supervisor from here and one supervisor from there. And then at the end, basically, you get two doctorates, right? Like double one. They're not two because it's the same work, right? But it's recognized by University of Ljubljana and by KAUST, right? And this is one example in computer graphics and visualization. These are the lab that here we are collaborating with. Is similar what Mansa was telling about previously. It's about the biological processes and data on micro and nano level, so very specific. And they have a lot of equipment. They have this cryo-ET microscope and all the equipment that we don't have it here, right? And again, it's a very good opportunity to establish this collaboration and to bring our expertise that maybe we're stronger than they are on one hand, and other expertise from their part, right? And then you can make this dissertation not only to have like this double doctorate, but also make it more impactful, right? So there will be, this is not the only one, probably we'll have also some other possibility of having these co-tutel doctorates. Another one is with Joint Research Center, ISPRA, right, in Italy. Again, we have like, 2 or 3 students now working partially there, partially here. And they also offer very, very good, so this is like European Commission service that employs scientists. So it's really, it's an entity of European Commission, but employs scientists that actually conduct research there. So they also, while working that, they gain some new ideas, some new knowledge, propose some new methods. They contribute a lot to some standardization processes, to to shaping of EU policies and so on. Since this is EU's entity, their role is like that, right? But in essence, they are really very good equipped research organization, right? And we also have this possibility to do this PhDs in collaboration with them, to spend a part of the time here. And there, this year, we also had a call, and probably a couple of open positions will be also to join this initiative. But also, otherwise, right? So there were just 2 collaborations, like this ISPRA and KAUST. So our labs are very well connected with the foreign institutions. There are listed just a couple of them, right? From CERN to I don't know, Baylor College and so on. So typically, like the researchers here have already established collaboration with researchers at other faculties. So, and we as a doctoral study, I would say, we really very, very encourage students to travel, to go to research visits, to collaborate with the institutions abroad. We even established internal fund, right, at the faculty to co-finance these research visits. Or if your paper is accepted to a great conference, you can go there, so you can get some money from the faculty to attend it, right? So we also, if you're abroad, we offer you to attend the lectures online. So we really encourage you to do these exchanges. I mean, you know, the world is small. Computer science is really as international as possible. We are competing with the entire world, which is hard, right? But as Mansa said before, once you beat all of those Chinese and United States researchers, like the feeling is even better, right? So it's really something that drives us to be better, right? And also by collaborating with others, makes us even better. Okay, so maybe not for you who are from here, but from whoever is listening to us online, if you don't know Slovenia, Slovenia is really very beautiful country, like the greenest country in Europe. It's rather small, but very rich. So we can go from here, 1 hour is to the Alps, 1 hour is to the sea, right? So you see everything here. It's also relatively low cost. I mean, the living costs are not as high as in many other countries. The students here at the doctoral level, okay, I'll see that many of the present here do not agree with what I just said, but really if you compare this cost with some other countries, you'd find that this is quite affordable, let me say in this way. But on top of that, the doctoral students have, subsidized lunch, transportation, so you have a lot of benefits that are not so common elsewhere, and this is also something to take advantage of. There is also some dorms for exchange students. Also, these international students here are quite vivid, I would say, active. They organize a lot of events and so on. Also, our students organize a lot of such events so that you can meet, socialize, and to enjoy also like the life besides the research, right? Like research is only the part of the life, and then you have also life after you finish with all your experiments, and this can be very pleasant in Slovenia. So just one remark, Slovenia is really the most beautiful country in the world. So I like to conclude because I see it's already 5 o'clock. So I have to say something about these procedures, how to apply. You apply online using this EVŠ portal. Zdenka, you wanted to say something? Okay. Oh, that's a mistake. Really. Thank you. That's a mistake. So you have to apply by the 2nd of June into 25, right? So in 2 months or something like that. But of course, enrollment is this year already. So next year you'll be already in the 2nd year of doctoral study. So we have early application deadline so that all the students coming from abroad can arrange all the paperwork until September, right? That's why we also encourage students from Slovenia to apply by the 2nd of June. Usually you also have the second deadline in late August, right? But just apply by the 2nd of June and then you're done. We'll just let you know that you're accepted so that you can already prepare everything by October to start with the study. Application closures like classical one, well-structured biography, then the proofs of copy of bachelor or master degree, motivation letter, recommendation letters, and so on. So you have all the instructions on the web, right? Nothing special, but pay attention that you collect all these documents already when you enroll, so that you don't have any problems then to process that, right? Tuition fees. So we have 4 years study, 5,300 euros for the first 2 years, 3,000 euros for the rest 2 of them, like the third and the fourth year. Most of these expenses are covered by we have every year there is an open call for application, and then the government basically covers most of these costs. If you work at the faculty, most of other costs are also covered, so you typically don't have unless you pay by yourself, right? And then if you progress from year to year regularly, then also like the second, third, and the fourth year are covered by these funds. So this is not something that you should worry about, especially if you have employment here, for instance, right? That I will say something more about that later on. So if you have any question of this procedure, please contact Ms. Zdenka Velikonja. Do you have anything to add? No? Okay, but she is the right person to contact. Micha.
The law is being changed, so it might happen that this will be waived fully, the tuition.
I know, but not this year, right? So that's true. So like with the proposal of the new law for higher education research, there will be a lot of changes from bureaucratic point of view, but nothing from your point of view. Let me put this. For us, there will be some changes, but for you, maybe this will be waived. But even now, you can consider that as not a big deal if you'll get most of that back, right? Okay. Speaking about the procedures, Vesna, she's not here. Okay. Ms. Vesna Grachner, she's the head of international office. So here at the faculty, we have international office that actually serves to help all the students that are coming abroad with sorting out like the issues like, I don't know, visa, resident permit, and so on. She can give you assistance with respect to that. He can also advise you for other documentation, how to find an apartment in Ljubljana, and so on, right? So if you're coming from abroad and you have some problems related to the questions related to enrollment, Ms. Denka Velikonia is the right answer. Everything rests with respect to the, staying here in Slovenia, coming here, and so on. Ms. Vesna Grachner is the right person to ask. So we'll be helping you how to sort of things out. Now, as I think Mansa mentioned previously, right? So he got a position at the faculty when she started with her PhD. And all three of us actually emphasized that doctoral study is not study like undergraduate and masters. And I wouldn't call it study, right? Because it's really a research. And being a researcher is a job, right? So, and if you're doing your job well, you should be paid for that, right? So what is really nice is that you get a position when you start your doctoral study, because then you can really focus, and that position should be aligned with your research topic, and that's great, right? So I'll just present now, and this is really the last thing I'll be talking about today. You have different positions like teaching assistants, junior researcher position, researcher positions, and we really have plenty of them. Nowadays, we really have at the faculty a lot of projects. We are looking for prospective students, for prospective researchers. And it was not like that the case in the past, right? But now we really have a lot of projects and a lot of open positions. These are four, okay, let's go back. Open positions, junior researchers, mladi raziskovalci. You know that this is probably the most wanted position, because it's you can really shape the research direction almost as much as you want, you and your supervisor. We have 4 open positions right now. Look at them. The deadline for applying is 15th of May, right, in a month or so, right? So, but beyond these 4 positions, we have many other positions, mainly research positions on the projects that are going on in these labs. So we listed these positions here. Like first one is in the laboratory for data technologies, like 2 to 3 positions in the field of NLP, natural language processing, speech technologies and multimodal systems, ML ops and supercomputing, right? And just contact Marko and Slavko in order to learn more about this position. So if you would like to do your PhD in these directions that are written here, and so your research is supposed to be aligned with what has to be done on those projects, that's perfect, right? So you will be paid for your enjoyment, right? So that's something that you should look after. Done in the laboratory for algorithmics, they have a project on extraction of structural information from text using LLMs and formal description, and their analysis with formal methods. So it's a combination of deep learning and formal methods on top of that, right? So if you're more into this theoretical analysis of this, this is definitely a position for you. Contact Yuri. In machine learning and language technologies lab, they have 3 open positions in the field of natural language processing and machine learning and LLMs and so on. Marko Robnik, Šikonja is the contact point here. Well, Bojan Žunković, he's working on quantum computing. So if you want to pursue a PhD in quantum computing, this is the project for you. In the laboratory for integration of information systems, there are 2 topics for 2 open positions, Kubernetes and scaling in the edge fog cloud continuum, and API AI, using AI for business event integration and so on, right? So if you're more in this information systems, this is for you. Matjaž Jurić is the contact person here. In the visual cognitive systems lab, we are also looking for, I don't know, at least 3 doctoral researchers. One in the field of remote sensing. Luka Čehovin-Zajc is in charge of that. I'm looking for a person to work on surface anomaly detection, something similar that Vitan presented before. And also Matej Kristan is looking for a PhD student on the topic of deep learning for extreme weather events prediction. So you can see that we have very diverse topics from different fields. In biolab, they also have like 2 open positions working on the biomedical domain, time series analysis, explainable AI, visual programming, and so on. Blaž Zupan is to be contacted about that. And probably also some others that we didn't list here, right? So be careful. You can follow our web pages with this career paths possibilities to maybe find also some other opportunity. So in this way, basically, you work here and you work on the same way on the dissertation. Maybe some of you, I didn't ask you anything up to now. Now it's a question, time for that. Maybe you're employed at some other companies. You can, of course, you're very welcome to join our program as well while still working there. I have to say that this is still quite, like officially, you earn 60 credits every year, right? Which means that this is a full-time job like that, right? So usually when someone is employed at a company and he works on a topic which is not really aligned, what he does that, he usually needs like a little bit more time to complete all the assignments than if you work on that particular area, right? But everything is doable, right? So that's why I encourage you to think about that as well. Okay, so I think this is the last slide, which says questions and answers. So did I forget something? Micha, would you like to add something?
No, maybe we can go to discussion questions because there are some questions.
Okay, so let's start with questions. Up to now, I didn't ask you much, but now it's your turn. Yeah.
What's the workload comparing like teaching assistant, junior researcher, and the researcher? Like you do those 60 ECTS, but what comes next to those 60 ECTS?
So 60 ECTS is just about your research and, of course, course on doctoral study, right? So whatever else you do on top of that, right? So, it's 1 FTE, right? Like 1,700 hours per year, whatever you count it, is supposed to be this research. Now, if you are junior researcher, then this is exactly your job, right? So typically, if you're a supervisor, you'll write the program of work that aligns perfectly with that. So that's all you have to do. Typically, also junior researchers, they have they teach a little bit, like 2 classes of tutorials to stay in touch with the students and so on. But this is not something which is hard constraint.
But is it calculated how many hours that it's like per year or like? I guess if you're teaching assistant, like
Yeah.
doing a 60 ECTS plus, I don't know, 4 or 5 courses
So-
you need to do.
So then, yeah, so everything else is on top of that. So if you're a junior researcher, that's easy. If you work on a project also, so if your project, so it depends on the project. So if what you promise in your dissertation topic, right, is aligned with the goals of the project, that's perfect, because this is what the project has to deliver, and this is what you promise to do. It's again, you don't have any additional work on top of that. If you're a teaching assistant, it's different because you have to teach on top of that. So I'm really in favor of this half-half positions, like half teaching assistant, half researcher, because even teaching assistants by default, they need, right, to research. So they are also paid not only for giving the lectures or having tutorials, but also to conduct research, right? So it's but still, if you're fully employed teaching assistant, you have a hard time. I mean, you can do it. A lot of PhD students do that, right? But I say at least in the first year, or I don't know, in the first and the second year, until the student really does not know exactly what he'll be working on during his study, until he has some preliminary results that make him happy, right? That he sees the light in the end of the tunnel. Because, I promise you will be frustrated at some point because the methods you develop will not work, the results will not be good. Then you will have something, but then you will see that someone from MIT, solved that problem better than you, and so on. So this is not, sometimes you really find this as a difficult job. But then when you go beyond that, when you see a light, as I said before, at the end of the tunnel, that you know that, with this, I know that I will defend my dissertation. When you publish your journal paper, I didn't mention that before, right? Every student needs to publish at least one STI journal paper, like really great paper. And everyone does that, but it's not a requirement. And once you do that, then you feel a kind of relief, and you know that you're there. And this is easier to achieve if you're a researcher, younger researcher, or even I think half is also okay, right? You have enough time to do research. If you are full-time teaching assistant, that's a little bit more difficult. It's not impossible. Probably it will extend maybe your time needed to complete a PhD, but it's doable. But yeah, that would be my short answer. Not so short, but anyway, yeah. Okay. Other questions?
Micha is...
Okay, so we got some questions over chat by the stream.
Yeah.
Video stream. So so we have some questions. I think some of them we already answered. At least this one about the funding opportunities. So this we already talked about. So
I think there are 15 or 20 opportunities that I just listed here. So
yeah, so all these opportunities are also listed on the webpage under career at free or career on a free if you looked at the Slovenian or English page. Yeah. So then the other questions are I want to know if a student can be specialized in robotics.
In robotics, let me put it this way, right? Because this is what we do in our lab, right? Our lab is Visual Cognitive Systems Laboratory, and cognitive systems is a fancy name for robots, right? For intelligent robots. We do robotics. We have mobile robots. We have drones. We have USVs like autonomous boats. We are building now an autonomous underwater vehicle, right? So we do that, but having said that, we're not roboticists. We do not build the robots themselves, right? We have other partners that build the robots. What we do, we put sensors, like vision on top of them mainly, right? Or even like sonars, different type of sensors, right? But we're dealing with computer vision and sensor processing on the robots that are used on the robots, right? So from this point of view, and also in other labs, I wouldn't claim that we built robots from the first principles, right? But we rather equip robots with additional sensoring capabilities.
Okay.
And that we do a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so then there's a question. Is the project plan we need to submit for the application just an initial one and might be changed during the first year?
Okay, thank you very much for this question, because I forgot to mention that, right? When I was speaking about how to apply, right? You need to, I didn't mention those two things that maybe, okay, I won't go back, but it's really worth mentioning. So you need to specify the mentor. So you should basically make contact with your mentor now, like as soon as possible, before enrollment in September, right? Because you need to tell which mentor you'll be working with, and also describe, but really this is a couple of sentences, like a paragraphs. It's not really very detailed research work that you plan to do. It's a very coarse one, but you need to think what your research topic will be. And this needs to be specified now, but the real one, research topic, will be described in the second year. Because in order to really promise what will you do, you really need to do some research to see whether, in which direction you are supposed to go. We can't ask the students to do that now, right? This is just the beginning of their study, but the idea, direction in which they plan to go, that might change, frankly speaking, right? If they find out that some other topic is better, but they need to provide this initial idea. Right? They have to start thinking, what would we like to do before the application?
Okay, so then there's a question. Maybe we just already said it, but still, how easy is it to join the full-time employment and on-site PhD at the faculty? What kind of flexibility do we allow?
I'm not sure if I understood the question. So it's, I presented, 20 open positions, I guess, right? So okay. This is not so difficult to get as in comparison with the past, but.
No, but the question was about combining.
Full-time employment somewhere. Yeah. So frankly speaking, so you saw Peter Bohans at the beginning. He's employed somewhere else, and he said that this works perfectly fine, right? He's very good. He can combine that. He comes to the lectures. Like the lectures are in the afternoon, so that we really try to adapt to the students as much as possible. From this point of view, this shouldn't be a problem. But it requires time, right? It requires time to do research. So if your research on the PhD is orthogonal to what you do in the company, it will take more time. Because there's no free lunch. You have to do this. You have to go beyond state of the art. You need to develop something new. And if you don't have time thinking about that in your everyday job, you have to do this in the afternoon, in the evenings, in the weekends, which is, this time is limited. But it's possible, right? I wouldn't say it's not. But anyway, much easier it is that if you're employed here or in the company or some other institute, right? And that your regular job, everyday job is aligned. I would suggest that the topic the student selects is as much aligned with his everyday work as possible. This makes it easier. He has more time to work on that, to think about that, and then the results are better.
Okay. Then there's just another question, maybe some misunderstanding also in the question, but the question was the program is 4 years, and how many years would the student use for the thesis before shifting completely to research?
Okay, I'm not sure what the question, so because thesis is about research, right? So you jump into research at the very beginning. So maybe at the beginning, like the first, so we have a lot of students that continue their work that they did on master thesis. So they already know everything about that. And when they start with doctoral study, they already conduct research, really heavy research. Maybe some other students, they only start thinking about the research when they apply it, so they don't have like this topic really in their head, their mind. They don't have previous experience of that, so maybe they need a couple of weeks, months actually to jump into, right? To learn about the related work and to learn how to conduct research. And the supervisor and the co-workers in the lab might be of great help for him. But then, maybe this is a little bit delayed. but research starts really as soon as possible. And then like the PhD is a consequence of research, not vice versa.
Okay, so these are basically the questions that we got. So maybe if there are some more questions here, you can ask them, or you can ask any of us over a pizza or some biscuits.
Yeah, we'll have
the pizza is outside waiting, but
yeah. But before we go to pizza, any other question? Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah.
We have to enroll by 2nd of June.
Yeah.
So do you have to defend your master's?
No. Okay, thank you again for this question because I was not clear before. So enrollment is by the 2nd of June. You just say, I would like to apply. And then you have time to finish your master until end of August or let's say early September, right? In order to fulfill all the requirements. So you enroll now in June, but then you have to fulfill the requirements by September in order to enroll in the late September. So definitely, yeah, I should have mentioned that before. You don't have to finish by the June, but express your interest in that. But of course, you have to finish everything in time by September in order to enroll regularly. Thanks.
There are 2 additional questions online. So how qualified should a student be to work as a teaching assistant at the faculty?
How qualified? I mean, we have like the established procedure when someone wants to be. So in order to work as a teaching assistant, he has to apply for it, and he has to get this habilitation of assistant. And there are certain rules. You need to have experience from that particular, from computer science. You need to have, I think, the average grade at least 8 or something like that. So there are some rules that we have, and they're not very high, frankly speaking, right? But you need to show your expertise in computer science because you will be teaching other students of computer science. So that's something which is a must, right? So.
And there's another question about energy-related cross-sectoral studies, which I don't think that we have at the faculty.
How did you say? Can you repeat?
Energy-related cross-sectoral studies. So.
Energy-related cross-sectoral studies.
Matjaž Juriš had some with electricity and some stuff.
So speaking about electricity, so I don't know really exactly what he meant with that. But as I said before, most of our approach, our dissertations are interdisciplinary, also including developing AI system for smart distribution of energy, for instance, right, on the grid or something like that. So, in such cases, yeah, you need some expert from like this energy field, right? But you need also some expertise from machine learning, for instance, and a lot of dissertations are like this, right? And at the end, so when I'm listening to students presenting their work, sometimes I feel like I'm sitting in, I don't know, Faculty of Medicine, because we have these different approaches to some medical predictions based on some symptoms, something like that, right? So it's really very, very different, right? Including this, right? But it's not like a core, I would say, topic here.
And there's another relevant question. So does it matter what's your background for the master's?
So officially, right, we don't have a requirement that you finished masters in computer science. So we have also some other students that finished some other disciplines, right? I would say like that. When you finish this dissertation, you will be a doctor of science from the field of computer information science, right? So it's a kind of, you will be awarded with the doctorate from this field, although the doctorate is a general one. It's not, we don't have in the name it will be just DR without any other letters there, right? So you're expected to make, and this is a requirement, to make a contribution in computer science. I was speaking about this interdisciplinary doctorates before. Let's say with medicine, right? If you only take an existing machine learning algorithm and apply it to some medical data, and then you find out some new, how to, predict better some diseases, for instance, right? This is not contribution to computer science. It's contribution to medicine. Can be very impactful, very important, and so on, but not in computer science. So here you're expected to develop a new method that will do this prediction. And this method does not to be general, right, in order to predict whatever. It can only predict that particular disease. But still, the main contribution is expected to be to computer science. And almost never everything works just out of the box, right? You need to do something here in computer science in order to do that contribution, right? So having said that, it is expected that the students, they have knowledge of computer science, right? So either this is officially finishing computer information science, or if you finish mathematics, or I don't know, electrical engineering, if they have enough knowledge about computer science itself, that should be fine, right? But they have to be aware that the contribution they will make should be in the field of computer and information science. Anything else?
No.
No? Any other question? Everybody hungry? Okay, so there should be pizza. Okay, it is. Thank you everyone for coming here. I'll just say a couple of words more and then we'll jump to pizza. If you have any question, please contact me, contact Miha Moškon, he's Vice Dean for Research, Zdenka, we are open to answer your questions. As I said before, once you enroll in a doctoral study, you're not like this relationship that you're used to up to now, like teacher and student, is not valid anymore. We'll become colleagues, right? We can talk like this. So do not be afraid to approach us and to ask if you have any doubts. And of course, I hope to see all of you in early October on the introductory lecture that we will have. Okay, thanks. Yeah.